How about that, Betty?
Is that my button?
That's your button.
I keep pushing the red one.
And the other thing I'd like to say towards new business with that, if there's another building or something else that we can do, we'd like to get involved with that too as well.
I'm after the flood. I bet Betsy will have an idea or two on that. But I agree, Jerry. I think it's good for us to do that.
It was a lot of fun. Was it just us four?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. And I did have some pictures I forgot to share with people. If um, but I will share them. Uh, any other old business? I'm sorry. So moving on, we will start with Natasha from the Friends of Vanderveer. Yes.
Using this? Am I supposed to be using this? Can you hear me from it? Yep. It feels very far away. I don't know. Well, no, I think that's all the further it's going to go. I'll have to use my booming voice. Okay, you can hear me, right? Okay. Well, thank you for having me come today to represent the Friends of Vanderveer. We can't say enough about how passionate we are about Vanderveer Botanical Park. And the Friends was started in 1992, and at that time, it really was just a group of concerned citizens with the state of the park. The park had really fallen into disrepair over the years and did not have a very good demographic of park users in the 70s and 80s. So in the 90s, a group of 4 or 5 people that just really loved the park started kind of meeting in the park and talking about issues and things that they felt weren't right. Started doing a few fundraisers, and the next thing you know, we really had the Friends of Vanderveer going. Then we certified, became a 501c3. And over these years, we've really grown, adding staff amongst our volunteers so that we can really raise the funds that we need to raise to keep that park looking good. The Friends right now, well, for the last 9 or 10 years, the Friends has operated with one staff person, that's me. I'm part-time, and I manage a board of directors and a large group of volunteers. We raise money. Our mission is to provide advocacy and fundraising for the beauty and historic aspects of Vanderveer. That's our mission. So we are all about the botanic nature of that park. We love seeing the flowers in the park. We feel that it's an oasis, and the community does too. It's not just our group that feels that way, but we believe it's an oasis in the center of town. I've often called it an urban oasis. People of all income and backgrounds and age levels can really meet in that park and feel quiet, feel serenity, see nature in action. So it's a really wonderful park. The Friends group functions somewhat like a foundation. Like I said, I'm the staff person, and my board and myself, our aim is to raise funds to help the park. And so we fund what I call the beauty in the park, the beauty and the education. When Betsy and I were discussing things recently, we were also maybe calling it the wow in the park at times. But we don't fund any kind of city staffing. We don't fund equipment. We have a really lovely relationship with the city of Davenport, with Parks and Rec, where we can fund the beauty, the wow, the education programs, and the city provides the expertise, the horticulturists, the staff, the labor. So each year we donate approximately $25,000 to $30,000 directly to Vanderveer Botanical Park. It's an outstanding arrangement. I'm grateful to Chad and all the staff at Parks and Recreation for our partnership because it's very, very effective. So we award 25 to 20, this year we're going to fund $27,000. And we fund off small grants all throughout the year of the things that the horticulture staff is directly asking us for. It's a very independent and unique approach, and it really allows the horticulture staff, really not even Betsy or Chad, it really allows our actual horticulture staff to say, these are the flowers we'd like to have. This is a new arrangement we'd like. A few years ago, they wanted to do a lot of new roses, and we'd like to bring a new rose collection in. So we can fund these things for them above and beyond what the city is doing. And like I said, that's kind of the nice partnership, because the city can do the staff and all the labor and all the other things that we can't, but we can help with this beauty part. We also help fund the themes, and I gave you a brochure from this year's summer theme. The Friends have funded, well, I wouldn't say all of it. In some years past, the Friends have really funded the entire theme contents. I know the city has been partnering more and more on some of that too, but I also brought you some cute things from it. When people go through this theme, it's open from Memorial Day to Labor Day approximately. And as they go through, then they win prizes when they're done. Like, this is one of the prizes, which I thought was cute, was this really big deck of cards. And the Friends funds all these prizes. And then these were some decorations that Mary was doing, our education staff. And these are kind of cute. These would be hanging up in the conservatory, and they're Monopoly pieces. And this one, she's got all the Monopoly pieces on there, which is kind of a kick. It's kind of a kick. So we don't do this. The city does it, and that's where our partnership comes in. So we do the funding so that Mary can go buy these, silly fun things and make the park come alive. We love the themes because we feel like that element of pop culture brings in a demographic that maybe if we just said to them, stop by and see the conservatory display, or stop by and see Vanderveer, they'd say, oh, I've driven by that a bunch. I've already seen Vanderveer. But when have they come in and taken in the park? So our themes really do allow the people to really come in, engage, and we had worked with the horticulture staff years ago to say, could we do some themes? And our first one was maybe 2006 or 7, where we did a movie night with Wizard of Oz and did kind of a Wizard of Oz theme. And then the themes kind of went away for a while, and then we've really made a strong comeback the last 6 or 7 years, where every summer we have a solid theme in that park. And we also do a smaller theme at Christmas time too. So just a little more to engage our public. And again, the staff executes, the Friends funds. That's how our partnership works. But it's not totally under our direction. It's a collaboration. We meet, we brainstorm, we decide, and I think it's a really lovely partnership. So those are the main things. I could tell you all about the park, but I really want to focus on our partnership, and we're really pleased to be able to donate so much money to see the park stay so beautiful, and we're also equally pleased at the city's commitment to do the same.
Any questions for Natasha? Jerry?
I've driven by that park. I've walked through that park. I've been inside your flower area.
Conservatory. Yep.
I'm not a horticulturist, so I'm not very good at that, but I just like looking at things. And that park is basically what Davenport represents. And you guys have just done an excellent job with that. And the more we can do with that, I'd like to see that. I do have one question. Is there enough parking in that parking spaces in that?
Well, luckily those issues aren't the Friends.
Oh,
I would
sorry, Chad.
put that one right to Chad. No, I don't. Sometimes there's not enough parking in the park. Absolutely, that's absolutely a weakness as far as, especially when we have an event, which I guess I didn't really mention. The Friends puts on summer concerts. We put 3 summer concerts on every year for the enjoyment of free concerts for the enjoyment of the community. We also have partnered in the past with the city on movie nights. We know on those occasions that we do not have enough parking, but I think we do our best, and people find a way, to get in the park. We see people park to the south on Lombard or, in the neighborhood and come across. But what you said about not being a horticulturist really kind of hits the nail on the head, because we're not looking to necessarily make all of our public horticulturists, but we are looking to have the general public have an appreciation for culture, for horticulture, for the arts, and we're bringing kind of a little bit of all of that. Even our themes bring elements of the arts. We've had the Jungle Book theme a couple of years ago, and everything was artistically done by local artists. So we bring a lot of culture into the park, and we want it to be for, the common person, not necessarily the expert. And in this day and age of well, we Pokemon Go, which they are doing in our park, and brings them out to the park. But in our age of technology, our goal is to help these kids see the outside, appreciate nature, maybe get dirty, that kind of thing. So.
Thank you.
Chris.
Yeah, I know that the Friends have sponsored, in part, the Hosta Gardens everywhere. What other, was the fountain a mutual project, or what was
yeah,
the?
the Friends did fundraising efforts at the Grand LA, and actually back at that time, when the Grand LA, to refer to it, is the walkway that goes from the in front of the conservatory in the Rose Garden, the walkway that leads you up to the stone fountain. That's the Grand LA. And that was really the first main project where the Friends kind of took it on, because at that time, completely different administration. That was 1999, 1998, and the city was really dragging its feet, and the Friends and the horticulture staff really wanted to get that project going. So that one, the Friends just kind of took the lead and said, we're doing this, and the city partnered. The same then the natural next one was the fountain, and the Friends partnered on that as well. We didn't raise even maybe 50%, but I think we raised about $350,000 for the fountain on maybe what was more like a $750,000 project. So in times of capital improvements, of large projects, we are happy to partner with the city. It's not always our lead. Sometimes it is our lead, but sometimes it could be Parks and Rec lead of a project that they see, and we will certainly fund capital campaigns and larger projects to take on extra projects like that. The one we absolutely have our eye on is the conservatory, because it is old, it is outdated, it is not modern technology for caring for plants. It makes our staff have to do, I'm sure they could tell you a lot more about the inefficiencies in growing in our very old growing houses. So we would love to see that. We have earmarked funds for a conservatory that have been donated to the Friends, and we have started the process with Scott. We had started the process of doing an evaluation of the conservatory to look and see exactly what it needs, which parts are too old, which parts could be redone, or maybe what needs to come down and rebuilt. And we'll look forward to continue to work with Chad on that. That's the most, I guess, important project to the Friends group. But one thing that I love about our Friends of Vanderveer is that we are delighted to partner on the projects that the city thinks are important. We're not trying to, just force an agenda we feel. We're trying to help the city meet their agenda, with the exception of the playground, which is not a Friends project. The playground is a separate project entirely. That is not funded by the Friends, and because it's not botanic, it is not something that we're involved in.
Chris.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, having lived around the park all this time and having seen it in the 70s and 80s, the changes that have taken place have been absolutely fabulous. And none of that could be without the Friends. The city just could not have supported anything that we have done there. So I want to thank you too. Is it okay?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we want to thank Natasha. She's been the director of the Friends for the last maybe 15 plus years, and she's stepping down to go on to something in the future, but we appreciate your time, your energy, your love for the park, the communication with staff and the city, and wish you well.
Thank you.
We'll miss you.
Thank you. Just as a side note, but I am leaving my position because it is part-time. I've been doing it for a long time, and probably ready to work a little more, earn a little more money for my family. But it's very mixed emotions for me because I feel very passionately about the park and love it dearly, and love what we're accomplishing. And like Chris said, we all, maybe if you've lived here for a while, we can all remember a time where the park wasn't nearly what it is now, and to walk in it now and really, we see cellists playing in the park on a given evening. We see kids around the fountain on a given evening. We see the theme and families walking through and people in the conservatory, and all free programs. And we know that we're capturing not just the neighborhood kids, but people throughout the community and beyond that are coming in and seeing that beauty. And it's very gratifying. And on that side note, we have that reciprocal admissions program that we are a part of, and that draws garden lovers from all across the country who are traveling. We're in that brochure, and I should send a copy to Chad to send out to you so that you're aware of it. But Vanderveer is listed in that brochure as a reciprocal garden, so people come from Minneapolis and Des Moines and, all over the Midwest, when they're traveling and they stop and see our garden too. So then we are catching the experts that know, maybe more than you and I do, but then the experts are coming in and really seeing it too. So we're a little bit of everything for everyone, but we really want to maintain that high excellence of beauty, and the horticulturists feel so strongly about it, and they have everything. That's all directed by them, and they have the highest standards.
Wendy, did you have a question?
I don't have a question. Yeah, I guess I have a question. Where can you tell me something about the status of the docent
Sure.
project? Because my sense is that it's sporadic. I have done it, but not active, and not necessarily have to have horticulture expertise. So maybe a little sense of where that might go in your
Well,
mind.
it is sporadic, quite honestly. The docent program was something that Jennifer Meyer and I came up with a few years ago. She's one of the lead horticulturists for City of Davenport. And I was looking for kind of a greeter program when the gift shop was closed. For years and years, we had a gift shop. The Friends ran it. Then at a certain point, we closed it. A lot of history we want to, but in about 2009, 2010, at the request of that parks director, our structure greatly changed. And so the Friends changed our structure, and we just really couldn't keep that park store anymore, couldn't keep that gift shop. So we turned it over to the city, and the city ran it for a few years, and I just would say that maybe wasn't their priority either, to really necessarily run a gift shop. So when we took apart the gift shop and really even just took out the whole wall and everything that even made it look like a gift shop, it really left a void for people to be greeted, because that gift shop employee or volunteer actually served as a greeter when people came into the conservatory. So Jennifer and I developed this docent program kind of as a substitute for what the gift shop used to bring as far as welcoming people when they came in. And I think it has a lot of potential. We've had it for about 2 years, but I will be honest, as our goal from the Friends of being fundraising and advocacy, the docent program is lower on my priority list. So we try to kind of do it self-serve, where the docent is the word for a guide. If you were at the Figge, or maybe, I don't know if the Putnam has them, but a bigger museum, you might have a docent that actually is kind of answering your questions and leading you through. So that's where we came up with the name docent, we would have a greeter / educator who would kind of help answer your questions when you're in the conservatory, but also provide a presence when you come in the door, because if there's not one, you come in and you're sometimes not sure if you should be in there or not, because there's no one to welcome you. So we have it kind of self-serve. People can volunteer. I've put it out to our Friends membership. We have people that sporadically do it, but like Wendy said, it is sporadic. Meanwhile, the city has a program. I can't articulate it very well, but what is that through, Betsy? The National Label Network. It's a federal program, and Betsy's able to coordinate some employees of that program, not city employees, but employees of that program who can come in and also serve as docents. And what do you call them? Greeters, maybe? Yeah, Betsy actually calls hers greeters. And so they fill in the gap too. So between those greeters and our docents, our goal had been that whenever the conservatory's open, there would be somebody there. But that's a job. That's a lot of effort to maintain those docents, keep them coming back, make them feel appreciated, and so it has just been kind of okay. I know they would love it if we could really make that where we could completely commit, but we just have not been able to get it there in this realm where fundraising is more important as our main mission.
I appreciate that comment back, and I get a sense that it has value, and don't drop it, but maybe find a way that it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, the horticulturists would tell you it has huge value for them, because it lets them focus on their jobs rather than stopping to greet people who come in and answer. Just like you said, you went in and had questions on the summer theme, so you probably went and found a horticulturist, to
Indeed,
ask,
yes.
which is fine. But if you imagine dozens of those questions a day. So we'll definitely keep it on our priority. I always had hoped that I would find a certain person that would just coordinate that program as a volunteer, that would just take that on and develop better relationships with our docents and keep them coming back. But we haven't gotten that far yet.
Keep it on the list. Thanks.
Yeah, just one final thing. I just want to remind the public that has an historic value as well. And initially, this was copied after Central Park in New York, and we've tried to maintain some of those original structures and ideas of Central Park. So, in fact, it was named Central Park in the beginning, and that it is a 501c3, and to keep the donations coming to your parks.
And Chris is a wonderful and valued board member on the Friends of Vanderveer, and so she's helping me fill in if I've forgotten anything. But
You did good.
but yes, the park was designed by Ward Olaf, and he designed Central Park, and then he designed Vanderveer to mimic Central Park, and I would say the peak of the park, well, I would say the peak of the park is now, but historically, maybe the peak of the park was in the 1920s. And the stone fountain at that time was an iron fountain. There was a big pavilion in the middle of the park. There were some features that aren't in the park anymore, and that was really a beautiful time. And then as the Depression came and things wore down, then there were efforts, and there was a music pavilion that was put in for a while, and it kind of, a band shell, so to speak, and it fell apart somewhere in the Depression, and we never saw it again. And so there's been a lot of beauty, in the history. And so definitely the Friends wants to see that history kept. It's a historic landmark, and we feel strongly in that. So if they were to come in and say they were going to put baseball diamonds in, of course we would be, saying that we didn't feel that fit the mission of this park. But luckily we have a nice agreed shared vision, I think, for what the park is.
Jerry, did you have a comment?
Yeah, does it not make sense to have a gift shop there?
I would love to see the gift shop come back. I do think it makes sense to have a gift shop there. And I think, again, it's really a commitment. When we had a gift shop, the Friends had about 4 or 5 employees, and the city helped fund. I mean, we had a whole different structure back in the day that we had a gift shop. We had shared staff, city funded half, Friends have funded half. We had a lot of integration that way, and that may or may not have been the right system. Now we are completely separate. The Friends stands alone from the city, and I think that's a very nice system because it lets there be a lot of transparency for our donors to know exactly where their money is going to. But when we ran the gift shop and ran it so well, it did not make money. So, but we did other initiatives to
Do you know why?
offset.
Do you know why it didn't make money?
Well, I think the merchandise wasn't quite right. So if I were to have my hands on it, when I worked here twice, and the first time I worked here for 6 or 7 years, and then I left for 2 years, and then I came back, and I've been here for about 9 years. So the first time was under the old setup, and the second time I worked here under the new setup, so to speak. And they had just closed the gift shop when I came back. I would not have closed it.
Are there other gift shops in other park areas?
Oh, the Piggy has a gift. Well, in parks, absolutely, absolutely. If you went to Ryman Gardens, they have a beautiful gift shop. Chicago Botanic Center. I went to Rockford Botanic Parks with the Parks and Rec staff several years
Something
ago.
that's close to what ours is here.
What it was, yes, absolutely. And I think we had a lot of high-end merchandise that was beautiful, but we maybe focused a lot on high-end merchandise. And to do it now, I think, I would have maybe done middle price point, penny candy, some things with that. And we needed a marketing strategy for the gift shop, but it's not undoable. But maybe right now in our priority of things, it would be a joint discussion, but maybe in our priority of things, it just isn't as high right now. But certainly if we built a new conservatory, it would definitely have to have that gift shop right in there.
It's just something to keep in mind.
It absolutely is, but it would be a collaboration. It's just, it has to be funded by, it has to be volunteer workers, because to pay all that staff people, the Friends just couldn't possibly afford to raise that money to pay all those staff. I mean, right now we have one part-time person, and we're going as frugal as we can so that we can really raise all of our money to give right back to the park. We don't want a lot of salary expense.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it's a
thank you.
project. It's a
All right.
project for the future. 5 years out, right?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
So.
Wendy, do you have a comment?
One last comment. You mentioned the word history, and I have to put a cheer out with Parkopoly. When you go to each of the stations as you travel, each one of those stations has a historic component that you learn about the park. And so you mentioned the conservatory, what it looked like, and I have to say hats off to the public library who contributed those photos and things. And it's Pete the Pelican, you know, the
Yeah.
zoo and all those things. So it's worth traveling in the park yourselves to see what it's about and to get a real good overview of history of Vanderveer Park. So
Well, not to take your whole day, but just to add on that, I agree. And that actually, a lot of that was done by Ann Haley. She was a city employee. She was an AmeriCorps employee originally, and she was a retired deer exec who loved gardening and came over and started working through AmeriCorps for our park. And she was hired by Dan Sherman, past Parks director, to write the history of the park. And she spent hours and hours of investigation, of gathering old historic pieces and postcards and pictures, and she submitted all that down to the public library. So then in later years, she worked for the Friends. So she has kind of had as an education person, and in later years, helping me. But yes, it's really, we really do want to keep that history alive. And the Parkopoly was written by city staff, by our city education, I guess I don't know her name or her title, but interpretive educator is what we used to call her. I don't know what her title is now, but she went down to the library and gathered that information, and she's been here maybe 3 years, and I think every year the theme is getting better and better as she has a good handle on the mission too. So.
Well, thank you, Natasha, and we're going to miss all your efforts. I don't see any more questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. And we appreciate what you're doing for the city, too. It's a really nice partnership to have all these citizens involved, so thank you. I hope you get to Parkopoly this summer.
Well, next up, Mary, are you going to give the speech? Oh, it's over your head. So, you're up, Mr. Peppers. Do you need Jessica's help with the computer for the slideshow?
I need everybody's help. My name's Robert Peppers, and I am the founder of the Friends of Credit Island. And I don't want to get emotional on you, but I want to thank Jessica, Chad, Rick Dunn, Betsy, you too. If it wasn't for all of them, we wouldn't be here. And I gotta get that out because they do terrific things for us. And in bingo, we have, I would say, 50 people every Wednesday night we have at Credit Island that are faithful bingo players at Credit Island. And our phones are ringing off the hook every Wednesday wanting to know when we're going to get back and when we're going to get it going again. And we have so many ideas, and unlike Vanderveer, we are completely different, and Betsy and Chad's finding out, I think, how different we are. We're a blue collar, I call ourselves a blue collar friends group. We own skid loaders, dozers, cranes, and we're blue. I just consider us a blue collar organization, and we don't go out and raise money. We should, and I've never had the staff to go out and raise funds. We are a 501c3, and I feel that we can do a lot more. We're doing the back-breaking stuff that the city employees are spread so thin, and the staff is so spread so thin, and we try to back them up. And Credit Island is 360 acres or 420, depends on who you talk to. And there's one thing that my daughter Robin, and I should introduce Robin here, and Mary Cormier. And Robin made a point. She said, Dad, Credit Island's not 360 acres. You don't understand. It is double that. And as Jerry and I was driving around the park one day, and I pointed out to Jerry, I said, you're not looking inward. You're not looking at the park. You're looking at the waterways on the outside of the park, and you're seeing the tremendous size of Credit Island and the depth of that park. And it's such a jewel. It's such a great asset to the city. And we've done so many things. There's Robin brought a photo album here that you can see some of the things that the Friends Group is doing or has done. And we have a $2 million liability policy naming the city of Davenport, and we're not afraid to take on anything. And the Parks Department has such a hard time with understanding us because of our attitude. At one time we were taking out stumps and we were taking down trees and doing some things. We're trying to get away from a lot of the heavier labor. We want to back up the Parks Department. We want to help them to maintain the park because it's such a great big undertaking to do that with the park. And again, and I'm getting over my emotions now, but Jessica, she's just been wonderful. And Chad and I haven't got to work together. We have so many goals, and we don't want to make goals and meet once a year and set goals. We're not interested in that. We're interested in making it happen, whatever it is. And when we ask for something, we're not asking for city money. We're asking for permission to do that thing. And it's like the bingo. We're trying to raise money to build our South Plaza, our Memory Plaza. We want to put in swings. We want to put in double swings, and we want one side of the swing to be for the husband, one for the wife, or whatever, family members. And the swings, we wanted the benches at first, and then we got involved with the swings, and we're really loving those swings down in Bettendorf. And those swings are, people just sit there and watch the river and do things. And I'm sorry I started off so emotional, but Betsy and I have been working together for a long time. We started in 1993, and we've grown. We've grown, and I know the Parks Department goes, what is going on with these people? What are they doing? But we're just a hard-working bunch of people, and we're not asking you for money. We want to be a part of that park, and we want to make that park the jewel that it really is. And you have to polish it every day. It takes a lot of work to polish that place and keep it going. And Jessica says, I believe it was Jessica, she says, I love to bring people down here and show them the lodge on Wednesday, because she says, I walk in the door and it's so clean and it smells so good here, because I have people that come in on Wednesdays and we set up for bingo, and all they do is clean and clean windows and clean floors and do things, and we want it to be polished. When you come there, we want it to be good smelling, and that brings me to a point where when we start cleaning out from the flood, I learned a lot from the past park, the guy who used to live there, and well, Gene Posh, yeah, Gene, but you have to chase the flood away. You have to chase the smell out. You have to start cleaning and keep pushing that filth out. I hate to think about the water that we have at Credit Island, but it's part of the beauty. And as we put amenities in the park, we have to raise them 7 foot to keep them out of the flood. And when we build child swings and whatever, we got to get them up 7 foot so that the flood don't destroy them. And we need to get lighting. There's a lot of things that we need, and we just keep working at it. And our flag fund, I don't know how many dollars we got in our flag fund, and Chad, I haven't even got a chance to talk to you about it, but I know Bill Galuba donated $2,000, and Joe Sang donated, I think it was $5,000 to the flag fund to put flags out on River Drive to draw attention. As you drive into Davenport and you look, people drive in here and they want to see the Mississippi River, and we want to open up that view right in the front of Credit Island. Instead of hovering it closed, we want to open it up. And I've been there since 1946, and there's been a lot of things that have changed. We need to, we've lost 100 feet or better on the east side of Credit Island. It keeps washing away, and we got to put riprap in there. The island keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the sad part is that dirt is washing down into Pelican Island, and one of these days Credit Island and Pelican Island are going to merge because of the dirt that's washing down. I can go on and on and on. Jerry says, hey, you know, I've been here 3 hours touring with you, and I got other things to do, you know, and I didn't know you could talk about Credit Island all day. And he says, I had no idea, but I got other things I got to do, Bob. I got to go. So, and he says, we'll come back and we'll do this another day. Well, I really must have burned his ears up because he never came back. But everybody's welcome at any time. I love to be at Credit Island, and when people come there and I ask them, what are you looking for? There's so much history, and I want to duplicate Amelia Earhart's plane and put it on Credit Island. I want to get that done. That's a project, because people go, Amelia Earhart learned how to fly on Credit Island. How many people know that, you know? And, you know, it's just things like that people don't know. And anyway, I'm going to shut up and go ahead, Richard, and ask me questions. And I'm better at answering questions, I think, than I am talking about it.
Thanks, Bob. Jerry's got a question.
I don't have a question, Bob, but you and I had a great time when we were down there, and I made a report on Credit Island, which we had on all of that, and everyone here will know that Credit Island is one of my favorites. And the other thing is that I said, just like what you said earlier, we've got to make that place look like a wow factor to the point where it's nice. I want to go there. And the only way we're gonna be able to do that with the flooding and everything that we don't have the money to put a wall around that Credit Island. But all we can do right now is keep cleaning it up and make sure it's clean, make it have that wow factor, and then the city has to make a commitment. That's what I said in my report. Until that commitment comes up from the city of Davenport to do something about Credit Island, we're going to have to continue to do the things that you're doing, which I appreciate what you're doing. And not only that, but to keep it as clean as we possibly can. Matter of fact, after that report, I do know that the city went down and cleaned up an awful lot of trees down there and did a lot of that stuff. Because I put all that in my report, what needed to be done there. And of course, there's just tons of other things that could be done down there as well. I mean, I played golf back there back in the 60s, you know, when there was an 18-hole golf course down there. I used to hang around that clubhouse down there. So it's a pretty cool place. And it's the jewel of Davenport that's not known, is what it amounts to. So the more we do with that, the better off we are. But we really have to figure out a way to the flooding. I mean, it's just killing that. You're right, it's washing off. As a matter of fact, I mentioned to Chad that along the east side there, you can see it being washed away. And why can't we throw in cement pieces and so forth? But it can be done, obviously, because I've seen it already down there. I don't know if that's the total answer, is to put something along there to keep that from moving away. It'd be nice to have a bridge going from River Drive over to the island itself, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But anyway, that's my opinion of that park. So I just want to make my point there.
I thank you, Jerry. One thing, you go to Clinton, and I was taken to eat up in Clinton at a place, and I don't even remember the name of it, but I saw their wall and semis driving up and down the wall, and people on bicycles and walkers going down, and all the riprap, and up in Dubuque, what they've done. I think that we're neglecting. I don't mean to belittle no one, because everybody's doing as much as they can, but we need to do a lot of riprap. And where can you walk in Davenport and walk down and touch your toe in the river and step back and say, wow? You can't do it up in the East End. You got to get over a wall to get over there. But that's the beauty of Credit Island. You're down to earth at Credit Island, and to see the animals and everything that's there. Anyway, any other questions? Hit it.
No, I just had a comment. One thing we did a project is to the playground, the new playground down there. You know, it's going to be like a Ninja Warrior playground, just for lack of a better term. I was hoping that over the years we could add a piece here and a piece there and make that a bigger attraction to get you know, people to come down and see, because that playground hopefully will be different than any other place. So hopefully that'll work, you know, help. Chris, did you have a question?
Well, comment and question. First of all, I appreciate your passion for Credit Island. You've been in it from day one, and you grew up there. You did, I did. It's just commendable that you have donated your love to that area, and you continue to do that and fight for your association. So I appreciate that, and I agree that at what point, in some point, the city, not just the parks, but also the city, need to make some commitment in the direction of that historic area. So keep pushing for that. I thank you and Rick Dunn and all the people that have worked so hard on the West End to continue to be involved. Can you give us an idea of what direction or what projects right now that you feel are a priority for you?
For me or for the Friends?
Both.
Because they're different.
Okay.
Like, for example, for 10 years, we've wanted to raise the tank 7 foot high.
The one the Arsenal wants,
The military,
military tank, yeah.
we want to raise it 7 foot and taper it out. I mean, I don't want to build a wall and set the tank up there. I want to taper it out. But we need dirt. And we don't need people taking our dirt off of Credit Island and taking it to February. We need dirt brought to Credit Island. And we need to raise these things up that we're trying to save. We need to raise them up 7 foot so that they're out of the water. And that's a big item for us. And keeping these people playing bingo. Bingo's not a great big money maker, I will tell you that. But the joy, I do something at bingo that is my style. When the game is over, I greet everybody to go home and thank them. I stand out like a priest out in the front and shake their hands and hug them and just thank you as people leave, and see you next week. And people love our food, and thanks to Robin, she does a fantastic job with food. We need a 3-well sink really bad at Credit Island. We need a 3-well sink.
So,
Chad, I'm kind of burning your ears here.
so just a second. Tell us how, again, you can, tell us more about if people want to go to bingo, where and when it is, what time, do they need to bring anything? Let the public know now.
Well, the problem is we got to get the place cleaned up. The water is going away, and every 4 years we know we have a flood. The water is not our water, and that's why the federal government gets involved with water, because it's their water, and they just happen to dump it on us, and we have to deal with it. And so we need to get the place cleaned up now, and thanks to Brandon Wright, as I understand, we got flood insurance on it this year, and that's a great thing. And my biggest accomplishment that I think the Friends of Credit Island have done was saving the lodge, because Jesse can tell you, them people that come down there to rent that lodge, they love it. They love that river view, and they just love that lodge. And it's just a great thing. But any other questions? Wendy, you're not going to ask me.
I don't see any. Oh, Jerry just lit up there.
Yeah, Bob, why don't you do this? One of the things I wrote down is a 3-well sink. That shouldn't be too hard to get for you, I would think. I would think you'd need that for your.
There was a 3-well sink there, but it got.
Just needs to be replaced is all. There's a place for it. They just need to be replaced.
I want to put it in the mop room rather than in the kitchen, because we don't want to eliminate kitchen space. We need all the counter space and kitchen space we got, and put the 3-well sink back.
I mean, that's a little thing. I don't know the reason why we can't do that, but that the funds have to.
It'll get done. I'm
funds
sure
have to
it'll
come up
get
with that.
done, but a lot of people don't understand the holding tank that's at Credit Island. We're not hooked up to the city sewer. You know, we're going into the holding tank, and there's some complications with that. And I talked to the health board about it, and they don't care. They don't care that.
Well, I have a little pull in the health department. But, the other thing, what about you say about the dirt to raise all those things, and they're taking dirt out of the Credit Island. All the construction work that's going around the Quad Cities in the area, why can't we get dirt from some of those people? Does it have to be certain dirt to do that?
Do you know who controls the dirt in the city of Davenport?
Who?
The city of Davenport.
The city of Davenport controls the dirt?
They control where the dirt goes. I bought all the dirt at Mercy Hospital to bring it down to Credit Island. And the city of Davenport stopped me from bringing it down there.
Is
And-
it because of EPA, maybe, or?
No, it's all politics.
I don't want to get into it, but I just,
Go there, but,
but I mean, just if, for instance, we want to raise that tank, I mean, if we got a hold of a couple of construction guys, I mean, I don't know how you're going to lift that tank up. You probably have to have a crane down there or something, but you got a crane so you could lift it?
we'll,
So all you need is a dirt to get that down there where you want to be?
we're gonna have to reconstruct around there and we'll get the tank up
Okay.
there. We may even start it and drive it up there.
Okay. Those things are dangerous.
When you-
All right.
When you got people like Brian Pullmiller
Yeah.
and Brian's done so much, and Brian wants to take and do this whole electrical thing being down, and Brian wants to clean up the downriver side of Credit Island Lane, Credit Island Causeway. He wants to clean that all up, and we have the equipment to do that, and we're not asking for fuel money or nothing. We're not asking for anything. We just want to work with the Parks Department and do those things.
Well, those are a few little things that I think we can get done if we just do them. Not talk about it, but do it. So let's just take those 2 or 3 little projects and let's get it done to make sure that we are in the process of going forward with this. So that's all we have to do. So if you've got the equipment to lift that tank, Chad can get some dirt. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And you can probably level that out with all the equipment that you have, right?
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
We'll do that.
All right. You can work with Chad and all right. Thank you. That's all I want to do.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Wendy?
I will comment. No. I, too, am among the West Enders who grew up with family activities in Credit Island. So it is a part of me growing up and of my son as well. But what I see or what I'm hearing is when we get it cleaned up and we've washed the water away, what an opportunity time to maybe have a planning of like not a grand opening, but a festival kind of opportunity to say, here's Credit Island is back, and maybe it's something that we could plan since the river's going down slowly. So it might be something to investigate. I think it'd be a great opportunity to again say, here's the lodge, we're back in business kind of thing, a grand opening kind of thing. So keep that in mind.
Our job, the Friends of Credit Island's job, the way I see it, is to put bodies on Credit Island. It's about getting people active at Credit Island and doing things at Credit Island. And we brought in the National Powwow. We lost a lot of money, but we had one of the most beautiful events. Beautiful events. And we do everything pretty much grand style. And I just can't say enough about our volunteers and the city helping us with different things, and it's really been great. Anyway, any other questions, or now I'll get out of your hair?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, one other thing.
Adam,
Have you guys ever explored grants? Grants for that area, historic grants or any other kind of grant that could help support you?
here's the problem we got, is that we don't get that part of it organized. I can get the tank raised, but I can't ask, I'm not gonna beg nobody for no money for nothing. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not a grant writer.
Right.
I don't do that. And when you start telling people, you know, they wanna know names and addresses of people that belongs to the Friends of Credit Island, they go, don't put me out there, you know, I'll be here for you for all your projects, but don't put my name out there.
Well, it seems like there might be people in your organization or people around the city that would be willing to volunteer to help write a grant if they are available. Mary?
I've taken the class and
Wait, you need to come up.
I'm Mary Cormier. I have taken a class, and it's sort of like, there's a lot to a grant writing and understanding this. I have put a feeler out to a former worker that I worked with. I'm retired now, and she has said she'd be willing to assist. But it's just like, I think we need maybe a couple more, but I am in the process of doing this.
Wonderful.
And since I'm up here, there was a couple more history besides Credit Island is where the Indians and the white people came and traded. Another thing, and I do not remember the local gentleman's name that beat Ben Hogan on that 18-hole golf course, so that's something else to remember. You know, there's just so many little things. And for this gentleman who grew up on Credit Island, and the passion is there. I mean, him and as Mike, everybody that I have met through this organization, it's utterly amazing. And then the other thing we need to thank, the one thing that we worked on, was the element that ended up showing up down in Credit Island. The Friends, and we need to thank the city police department, and the park, seeing to it that going through the island that it's not there. And I've got people who ask me, well, I'll say, well, come down and, well, the hill. I said, no, that element it possibly is still there a little bit, but it's nothing like it was. And it is a park. There's times and place, so thank you.
Okay, I would like to show you folks some pictures here.
You have to come up to the mic. Oh,
Okay, so I'm showing here the opening, the reopening of the lodge. I don't wanna stand up there.
She said, stand over to the side.
Okay, so we have the reopening of the lodge, and down on the bottom right-hand corner is, we were helping out at the Family On event, and when Joe Sang was with us, we miss him a lot. Some more of the war reenactment there, and then up on the top right-hand corner is we built several hay racks for our Haunted Island event, which are all handicap accessible. So when we give hay rack rides, we can put people in wheelchairs on there. And how many times have they ever been able to take a hay rack ride? And that's pretty special. The statues that we have down there, that's like a big draw. Everyone stops and wants their picture taken with those statues. So we have the Indian powwow, and down there, and Maureen Lemick is our official storyteller, and she has just been amazing for our group because she's always there every year, and she just engages the kids so much, and they just absolutely love it. We have them cook marshmallows, do s'mores, and I can't believe how many kids have never made a s'more. And we do it all for free for them for that. Up on the top left-hand corner again is the war reenactment. We had a boat bring in the colors, and then the Vietnam veterans came up with the colors. Top right-hand corner is there was an event down there, a running event from Augustana College, and they all had their pictures taken on the tank. They're on the tank. It's not, you can't hardly tell, but I can't believe how many people just love to get their picture taken on that tank. And then we have Floatzilla, and we host the camping sites for Floatzilla every year. And this is some of our cleanup, like when the washout on the top right-hand corner, it washes out, and then on the top left-hand corner is when it's all done. We've got the equipment that comes in, and Brian Paul Miller, he does an amazing, I mean, that's his what he grew up doing, so. The bottom middle is us cleaning up the wood debris and everything on the island. The middle picture is them bringing the rock in that my dad donated this huge rock and that we put the plaque on that's right there at the parking lot. I don't know if you've seen it. And then there's another picture up there of one of our members cutting up a tree. And just some more, we're down mowing. The bottom right-hand corner, we cleaned out the WPA building down there. We gutted it out. It was a mess. And we had a lot of people there cleaning it out. And we were gonna put another bathroom down there, and that never happened. But they did put a new roof on it. And then again, some pictures of them setting the rock on the platform. The middle top is one year they protected the lodge with the HESCO bags and filled them with cinders, and then when they pulled them out, we went in and cleaned them up. RAGBRAI, we've done a couple different RAGBRAIs, hosted the camping down at Credit Island for that. The one year we hosted the RAGBRAI people, we had sold food and everything, and then the water came up and we had to move all of our stuff down to Centennial Park, and we had to do our event there. And then the next time we did it on Credit Island. And just again, more of our some more of our people, some fundraising things that we did. And then our golf cart, and that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you all being here and seeing that.
Thank you very much.
And I've got some more pictures here if anyone would like to look at them.
I don't see any comments or questions, so we'll move right along here to staff reports. Who's first? Well, Riverfront Improvement, but I don't see Steve, so.
I think, Richard, for the sake of time, all the staff reports are in your packets. If you guys just want to jump to individual questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Okay.
I do have just 2 updates from my report that I can jump into. One, the Party in the Park program that is part of the council's community engagement. The first one is next Thursday, the 13th at Cork Hill. The full list of all the parks and events is on our website and Facebook page and the city. So this is an opportunity where city staff and council will be present, as well as activities, music, food, kids activities from 5:30 to 7:30 on select Thursdays. We've identified 7 smaller neighborhood type parks for the most part. There's one larger one in Prairie Heights, designed to cover the span of the city. So I would encourage you guys to come out and be a part of it if you can. It'll be an opportunity for you guys to also talk to fellow citizens and hear about concerns they have. So more information on that is on our website. And then just a flood update. We have been, as of last Friday, was it last Friday? Yeah. We vacated River's Edge again. We are going on our 5th week now, and potentially have next week as well, where we'll be out of River's Edge because of the flood levels. So, along with that and all the rain we've been getting, and the majority of the staff reports you read has been about battling rain and getting operational and programs done with all the rain. The staff's just been working very diligently to try to get caught up. You may hear from residents about mowing concerns and why is this and why is this not done. And the simple answer is we are just behind due to the weather, and they're doing their best to get caught up everywhere. Golf courses are the same way. I mean, we've been shut down at Duck Creek for several days. The creek came up, flash flooded Duck Creek out. Emice has been terribly wet as well, and Red Hawk. So park staff is doing their best, and I just want to, as the director, give them kudos. Same with the recreation staff. We've had numerous programs, sporting events where we've had to cancel soccer or cancel softball or everything else, and it's been a challenging year for staff, but they are hanging in there. They're doing their best, and with that, I will turn it over to any questions you guys might have.
Wendy?
I had on my notes before I came today, really, truly encouraging, especially board members who are representatives in their wards for the parks coming up, that they go and go to as many. I'm curious about some parks that I only went to because I evaluated them. Now it'd be fun to see the people in the neighborhood and who they serve, especially Wayland Park. I want to see that one. So I'm encouraging, and I put the question, what is our role as board members? And I see this as a great opportunity for visibility and public relations, because we are the representatives, and it will give us a great opportunity to get information, share information, and again, see some of the residents face to face that we serve through our park and recreation. So do go.
Jerry?
Just a little extra with that. We probably should wear our name tags as well. Who we are.
Yeah. I don't see any other comments or. Oh, Chris, did you have one?
Yeah, two. Communication with the advisory board would be appreciated on anything that comes your way that you could inform us about before the media would be very much appreciated, and I think part of our role here. And the other thing is, I heard that there is going to be a change at Vanderveer on the Rose Garden area, and haven't had any information about that. I'm wondering who or what.
So, Betsy Tubbs, Senior Parks Manager. That is correct, that we do have, the current pergola in the Rose Garden is shifting. It is extremely heavy, and the base is shifting. So if you look at it closely, it's a little bit at an angle. So thankfully, we have about $100,000 in a CIP budget starting July 1st to revamp that. So once we are way far away from deciding anything, but once we get into that design, the Friends of Vanderveer will be heavily involved, as well as staff. And as a regular CIP, you will be informed as well.
I had one more thing. I just had a note this morning from Steve Aarons that there is a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the police department's community room between the city council and the railroad. So this is a public meeting. Just thought I'd let you know. Might be interesting to see what this said tomorrow. I know it's early, Betsy, but I noticed in your notes you said you might be asking for help on the cleanup. So be sure you keep us informed. You know what you're gonna need. Because Jerry's so kindly volunteered us. Go ahead, Chris.
And just once again, kudos to the park. I know it's been a extraordinary winter, extraordinary spring, extraordinary summer coming up, with so much to do. But thank you for all that you do.
Okay. I'm sorry, we didn't do advisory time. Does anyone have something they want to bring up? Oops, wrong button. Leah? Too many buttons.
I was going to move to adjourn.
Wait a minute.
I
I got ahead of my. Does anyone have anything they wanted to bring up under advisory time? Well, seeing none, now I'll ask for a motion.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Tegan seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, we're adjourned.
Taken? Just a minute, please.
Thank you, sir. Get together.
I need to tell you that the first time they closed Granite Island, he gets a phone call from one of our bingo players wanting to know if they're gonna send out a boat to get her. Yeah, I thought you would appreciate that. So I didn't think about it till after I sat down, but I've seen other people out, and they're regulars, and, when are you going out? And I said, I know we've definitely closed through June. So, and from that on, it's Mother Nature. I mean,
When we
she's
get
gonna
through
do
this a little bit, let's get together and talk about some
I appreciate that.
Because we got a meeting with Liz.
And I have some ideas.
And I've already checked with my doctor. My tetanus shot is all. I'm all.
You're good?
I'm good. Yeah.
All right.
Good. There's one less shot I had to have this year. He looked at me and he just shakes his head.
Did you see the pictures Don took of when it went down and with just the silt, the mud,
I
and the
see.
plants growing?
It's gotta be.
Some plants. Oh, I've been down there.